Ladies and gentlemen, we are reunited and it feels so good. What's going on, rope breakers? I am AuSSy. That is Matt Donato. We're
Hell
back,
yeah.
baby.
Hell yeah,
And
we're back.
we're ready for Hell in a Cell. We're going to give you guys our predictions on the show. First off, Matt, it's been a hot minute, brother. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. It has been way too long. I gotta make a comeback. By the way, I don't want to brush over this because we can't scoot past that. That was beautiful singing.
Thanks, man. I've been thinking about maybe a tryout for The Voice
Yeah,
in the coming years, but
it'd be a four-chair turn.
it's been a hot minute. Like I said, don't call it a comeback like LL Cool J would say, but like we always have stressed, we're just some regular ass dudes. Sometimes life hits you, and we've got other things going on. That's why we're always looking for new writers and new contributors for RopeBreakWrestling.com. So first and foremost, if you're interested in that, let us know. Another thing that's happened in the meantime, my buddy down here, Matt Donato, has also started his own little shindig called the Breaking Point Podcast. And I've got to say, it's definitely worth a listen. Matt, where can people find that?
You can find that at facebook.com/the breaking point. I'm gonna start posting it on the page because I feel like the rope breakers deserve to listen to that greatness.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've listened to a couple shows myself. Just really good work, really solid. The same stuff you
Appreciate it.
expect from Matt, the banter, the funniness, but I like for a while there you were ripping off like a show every day. It was interesting to tune in and see what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. I try to keep it at about 15 minutes because I figure that's perfect time to get people in, listen to what I got to say, get out, get about your day.
Right,
People
it's
are
perfect.
busy. I get it.
Yeah, perfect for a car drive. But let's crack right down to what we're here for, and that is Hell in a Cell. We're doing a couple giveaways in case you didn't know. So if you're new to Rope Break here, we're giving away a couple DVDs tonight, and the way that you can enter to win those DVDs is by participating in this YouTube chat that we've got going on the side here. And you can
Join
also
us.
go on Twitter and talk about us. Just tag us in any of your tweets. We'll retweet you. We might follow you. And that's how you can enter yourself in to win. But Matt, Hell in a Cell. Usually it's one of the better pay-per-views. I won't lie. I mean, anytime you have a Hell in a Cell match in a show, it should be one of the better pay-per-views of the year.
Oh, absolutely.
But not a lot of build going into this show. And kind of leads you to believe, maybe the show isn't going to be really worth it. But one theme that we've seen over the course of the past year in WWE is if the build is not good, the show is usually better.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing lately for sure.
And hopefully that's no different here. But you look at the card, you've got some really solid looking matches. Of course, you've got Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, which should be great. That's supposed to be the culmination, this final part of this feud. I won't get your prediction on that yet. Just kind of want to go through what we've got here before we dive into things. But you've got another Hell in a Cell between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. That should be the closing to that feud. You've got Kane and Rollins. You've got Nikki Bella and Charlotte, the Dudley Boys and the New Day, Ryback, Kevin Owens. You got John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge, which a lot of speculation is swirling there. And then you've got a kickoff show match that's got a lot of potential with Neville, Cesaro, and Ziggler facing off against Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett. That's where I want to start. And I want to talk to you about the stable of Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett. It looks like they're finally going to maybe form something concrete there, and I want to get your reaction on it because this is something that you and I and Alec have been talking about for a long time, that they should have done some sort of European or international connection type stable.
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
thinking about this?
I think it could be interesting. These are three guys who they're kind of been falling off lately. And this is the perfect opportunity for them to do something that's going to be interesting, can get them some attention, put them in a little bit of a spotlight. I don't remember which game it was. There was maybe you remember, there was a game back in the day where they kind of had this thing going on where they had kind of the European connection. I'm making up places now. it was like a European connection. They had like they had somebody I think it was like William Regal as a manager, and I was like, oh, this would be awesome for something to do. And I was thinking to myself, like, why aren't they just using these storylines for their show? It would make so much more sense. But this is a good idea. I think this is something that would benefit all three of these guys. Like I said, they've been, falling off lately, only getting little matches here and there. I know Rusev has fallen way far from where he was, so this could be really big for him. Interesting. I think maybe they should throw in maybe a William Regal or someone like that as like a manager or something for their stable. I think it could be cool.
Yeah, I think what'll be interesting is to see who comes out the mouthpiece of that group. Like you said, William Regal, I think they could really benefit from somebody like him. But they do have two guys that can talk. Well, really three guys that can talk. I wouldn't see Rusev as the vocal leader of that group, but either Sheamus or King Barrett. I would prefer King Barrett to do the talking there. But you talk about falling off. How about Sheamus? I think you forget. Sometimes I forget, at least. The guy is holding the Money in the Bank contract.
Yep.
He's been dismal. I don't know what they're going to do with him when he cashes it in. I just don't see him getting a WWE championship in the near future. He's been absolutely terrible. Really, he's been non-existent. And then, we've got on the other side of that, another good group there with Neville, Cesaro, and Ziggler. Again, though, three guys that they're kind of like, I don't know what the fuck to do with these guys, so let's just throw them together. That I'm kind of more upset about. I like the idea of Rusev, Sheamus, and Barrett, but I don't like the idea of Neville, Cesaro, Ziggler. How do you feel about that?
Hold on. Matt Donato's webcam is pulling shit again. Would not be a return if camera didn't freeze up on me. Want to repeat your last question? Am I freezing again?
Yeah, you're still freezing, buddy. Why don't you go to audio only if you can? I don't know if you can do that. Can you do that?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn the bandwidth down. How's that?
Yeah, now we can hear you. What I asked you was, you had Neville, Cesaro, and Ziggler kind of thrown together, opposite of Rusev, Sheamus, King Barrett. I like the idea of Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett. I don't like the idea of Neville, Cesaro, Ziggler, because it kind of just feels like they're the ones that have just been tossed together like three really good workers that they have no idea what to do with.
Yeah, I completely agree. The fact that all three of those guys should be solos. They should have, plenty of title reigns under their belt already, and don't. Right? They're just being feels like a clusterfuck. Just I don't know what to do with these three. They're great, so let's just put them in a team where Sheamus, Rusev, and Barrett sense. They can. There's a storyline that can be built from that, where I don't really see any viable storylines being built from Neville, Cesaro, and Ziggler. I just don't see anything coming of that.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement with you. And that's kind of the nature of WWE now. It seems like there's always a 3-on-3 like feud going on. Like when the Shield was in there, they were just throwing three random dudes together to face the Shield. It's like you don't have to have a 3-on-3 every time. Like think about going back to the days of the Nation of Domination and DX. They didn't have a 4v4 match every single time like that they were featured on a show. You can break it up and make maybe Sheamus and King Barrett a tag team and that faces another tag team, a real tag team, and then maybe Rusev versus another guy. You don't have to jumble three guys together to face them, and I think that's what WWE's thinking is, and I think that's pretty weak thinking, and like you said, it doesn't really make for any storyline. But just for the sake of this match, who do you got going over in this match? Rusev, Sheamus, Barrett, or Neville, Cesaro, Ziggler? Who should go over and who will go over?
Oh man, It's a tough one because it's like all six of these guys. It's like WWE's been shitting on for months now. It's like who do they hate the least out of all six of these guys? Who do they care the most? They haven't. I mean, that guy's been there for years, and they've done nothing with him. Cesaro, they gave him the opportunity. I would say, man, I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna have to go with Neville, Cesaro, and Ziggler winning this one. And there's really no a blind prediction because it's a tough one. I don't know who they would go with. It's like they seem to not care about any of these guys. So does it really matter? I don't know. I'm gonna have to go just because so recent, kind of over. I mean, he was over with the crowd, but as far as the WWE is concerned, they didn't really do anything with him. So I'm gonna kind of go more towards that because Cesaro was kind of in the spotlight a little bit with Kevin Owens, and then you had Neville, who was also had that program with Stephen Amell, Stardust, and then Ziggler. They're kind of starting to build him back up. SmackDown, you had Tyler Breeze debuting, and they're trying to build something with that, I guess. I'm gonna have to go with that. I think they're trying to build those guys up a little bit more. And I really who should win? That's a tough question. It's because I think all six of these guys. It's one of those situations where all six of these guys can't really afford to lose, and they put themselves in this. They back themselves in this corner constantly, where they have these guys who really cannot afford to take a loss right now, and for some reason in their minds, those are the people that they seem to put together, and it really makes absolutely no logical sense. I don't know where they come from with that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that point 100%. What I do think though is I do think they'll end up, or I think they should have Rusev, Sheamus, King Barrett win. The only reason I say that is because if they're going to continue to be as stable after this point, a loss doesn't really make sense for them. But then, you talked about it. It's always this, some of the shit that they do just really doesn't make sense ever.
Yeah.
So I really think if I was booking him, Rusev, Sheamus, King Barrett would be my winner because I want to build them as a stable going forward. And then that would kind of give me a reason to break up Neville, Cesaro, Ziggler, it didn't work. Like you guys aren't going to be in a thing together anymore, kind of split and go your separate ways. But you're right. All these guys need a win right now. Ziggler just got out of one of the worst storylines in recent memory with the whole Lana and Summer Rae thing. They really, really botched that. They fucked it up really bad. Cesaro, they just continue to just drop the ball with him. And Neville, same thing. He came in super hot, full of steam, and they've just dropped the ball with him. People have forgotten about him or really don't care anymore because he came in so hot. And then they just let him fizz out on his own. It doesn't make sense. If I was booking the show, why do you have Tyler Breeze make that big of a debut on SmackDown, and now he's not on the card? Ziggler's facing somebody else, almost as if it didn't happen.
That's true.
You want to make SmackDown mean something? Then why not have Ziggler and Breeze going head-to-head here in a one-on-one match, and you could have thrown somebody else in with Neville and Cesaro. Or you could have had, Neville and Cesaro not a part of this at all, and you could have thrown three other randoms in here that could afford to take a loss. But it's really water under the bridge at this point. So I guess that's cool. We'll start off the predictions with a little bit of variance. You'll take Neville, Cesaro, Ziggler. I'll take Rusev, Sheamus, Barrett. Let's move on to the Intercontinental Championship match between Ryback and Kevin Owens. And I can't remember if it was on air or if it was before we went on air that you were talking about Ryback and Kevin Owens and kind of how they really haven't done anything with this match to make you want to invest yourself in it.
Yeah, I think it was before we went on air. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's not even like, we watched. I wasn't a fan of their first match because I didn't think it was long enough. I didn't care for the overall finish. It made 0 sense to me. I mean, you have a guy who can beat and resort to gouging Ryback's eyes to win. I mean, I know, but any foundation to build off of those things and be okay for me to be okay with it. I mean, he doesn't have any credibility right now. And, you know, it's the same situation with Seth Rollins where he has zero credibility. And then they keep tacking on these heel tactics, which continue to keep pushing him farther down with even less and less credibility. And it makes no sense. So I feel like Kevin Owens needs at least some solid win. I know he beat Mark Henry, hit him with the pop-up power bomb. Everybody's like, yeah, good job, Kevin Owens. I want to say kudos to Mark Henry for jumping that fucking high. So that's a lot of human being coming off the mat. But you know, yeah, I'm not really totally invested in this match because it's like they just took exactly what they did last pay-per-view and they just this one like, oh, we're just gonna do it again. It just seems lazy. There's no thought that has to go in it. They literally got away with doing. I could do that. That's not hard. Anybody can do that. They could have easily made this a triple threat. They could have thrown Cesaro into this match and made it a triple threat. That would have been interesting. Maybe even a Neville, someone who can fill that spot and make a gimmick. Because let's face it, you know, nothing against Ryback, but I mean, he can only go just so far. They could have put it in a Hell in a Cell. You know, there's so much they could have done, and I just feel like they really wasted an opportunity and just rehashing the same thing, you know, saw last time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. You know, I think that I was much more invested in the Cesaro versus Kevin Owens little feud there. And I think that that's what they should have continued with. I think you're 100% right on that. Didn't Ryback already get a rematch? The fact that we don't know that is a problem because it's not my fault. It's the fact that it wasn't memorable enough for any of us to remember. You know, that's just inexcusable when it comes to Intercontinental Championship. I mean, you want to see, and you're right about the heel tactics. You know, for a while there, I disagreed with you about Seth Rollins. I said, yeah, you know what, he's supposed to be somewhat of a coward, but there is a time when there's a time and a place, and Kevin Owens is not the guy for that. He can just be a legit bad guy. You don't have to make him, you know, win crooked and shit like that. You know, when you look back, it's really an old way of thinking, the way that they're doing it right now. You know, think about guys like The Undertaker during the Attitude Era, Triple H during the Attitude Era. These guys didn't need to gouge eyes and really cheat as often to win. Yeah, sure, you might get a low blow here or there, but they weren't painted as cowards, and that's what we're seeing with Rollins and Owens. You know, they're running away from confrontation and shit like that. It just doesn't make sense. And I feel like it's a very old cartoony way of making the good guys look very good and the bad guys look like cowards. I think they should have went more with the way they built CM Punk as a heel. You know, the guy could win matches legitimately and still be a douchebag at the same time. And I think that Rollins and Owens are both guys that are more than capable of doing that as well. In this match, I think it's very easy to make the prediction. They're not going to put the strap back on Ryback. That would be detrimental to Kevin Owens at this point, and really unnecessary for Ryback. He had the title. He didn't really do much with it. He was injured, and I don't see him getting it back. So I'm already – that's the problem here, is the fact that they didn't put Cesaro in it. Everybody that knows anything knows that Owens is going to retain here. Exactly. And I know I've gone out on a limb like this before and I've been wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm safe in saying Kevin Owens is going to retain. So this match, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to watch it. I already know what's going to happen. And I know Ryback isn't going to do anything special for me. If anything, Kevin Owens is going to really have to pull a rabbit out of a hat to make this a very good match.
Yep, I agree. I kind of feel like the finish is going to be another because I don't think they know what to do with Kevin Owens, which is a shame because this is a guy that can write himself. You don't even need to do anything. Just put him out there and let him do what he does, and it's perfect. It doesn't need writing. Creative doesn't even need to be involved. He's just perfect the way he is. And I feel like they try way too hard to make this guy entertaining, and it's like you don't have to do that. I feel like there's going to be. I just feel deep down that they're going to do something stupid, like it's just going to be like a low blow finish, and it's just going to be awful, and then they're going to try to rehash this again for a third time, and that's my fear. It's probably illogical, but knowing the WWE, it's not that illogical.
I don't think it's illogical at all. I think that's a real possibility, which is unfortunate.
Yep,
So we're both going with Kevin Owens on that.
absolutely.
All right, let's move into the tag team match. That's going to be between the New Day and the Dudley Boys. This is interesting. You're talking about the New Day, who have single-handedly turned their own fortune around with this gimmick that they've got. They now they're now responsible for 2 of the top 3 selling T-shirts in the company right now, which is pretty impressive when you've got a guy like John Cena holding a belt and they're still beating him. That's impressive, and it's impressive that they released that information. I think it must have leaked because they would never admit that a heel team is outselling John Cena, who's a champion. But this is interesting. I really like what these guys have done, the Dudley Boys and the New Day. I think they should probably end it here. And
I agree.
I don't know what's going to happen, where the titles are going to land. And that's what makes this an interesting match. The other thing that's cool to note, too, is if you follow us on Twitter at Rope Break Wrestling, a couple weeks ago, I actually went out on there and tweeted, blows my mind that WWE has neglected to sign Velvet Sky to add a third dimension to Team 3D. Just because you've got Xavier Woods there, who's such a pivotal part of New Day, it just makes so much sense to add a third dimension to the Dudley Boys, whether it's Spike Dudley or Velvet Sky. But one thing that is cool that came out of that was a bit of news. Velvet Sky actually responded to that tweet on Twitter and said, "Never say never," which is, kind of like, you see these pictures we'll get to later, the James Storm pictures, all these little hints and stuff like that. Velvet Sky kind of threw a little hint our way, directed in a tweet directly to us saying, "Never say never." Matt, do you think that Velvet Sky would add a positive dimension to the Dudley Boys, or do you think it's kind of like, not necessary?
No, I definitely think it could add that dimension. I think it could be cool, especially when you look at on NXT. You have Blake and Murphy, right? That's their names, right?
Murphy is their name.
Was that their name?
Yep, Blake and Murphy with Alexa Bliss.
Boom. All right, I got it. I haven't watched NXT in a while. I couldn't remember the names. I knew it was Alexa Bliss. And you have tag teams like that coming in. I think it could serve, like, if they were to move to the main roster, they have Alexa Bliss. And then you have Velvet Sky and you have the Dudleys. I think that could serve to be cool. They could do things like that. But I definitely think having a female, especially someone like Velvet Sky, who is established, who is great at what she does, can wrestle, can talk on the mic, as that element. She could be. They don't. Not the Dudleys don't need a mouthpiece, but adding that, adding her to it and having her be a kind of a manager type mouthpiece, I think that could be really interesting.
Yeah, she doesn't even need to be a mouthpiece. Just a third dimension that's out on the apron to feud with the shenanigans that New Day has going on. You know what I mean? Maybe rip Xavier's trombone from him and slap the shit out of him with it. Stuff like that gets you extra interested on the sidelines to what's happening. And you brought up a great point with Blake and Murphy and Alexa Bliss, because they've done a really good job down in NXT with that group. And looking forward, which is something I know that writers never do, you have a great feud there. Just like you said, I didn't even think of that. That's something that could be great in the future.
I think that having her in there and having, you see that they try to do this from time to time where they'll add in like a Summer Rae, someone who's not ready for that spot, and it just doesn't, it fizzles, it doesn't work out. Having someone like Velvet Sky who knows what she's doing and is good at it, I think is really going to help out a lot, because they've been trying to do this kind of thing for a while, but it never really works out. This is something that will definitely work out, and maybe they can build off of that, for other teams and things like that. I mean, they've had the Rosa Mendez and things like that, and it doesn't necessarily work out because these women aren't ready. This is a woman who knows what she's doing and is ready for something like that.
Great point there. Is you're right. They oftentimes, and not a knock on Summer Rae. I think she is getting close to being ready. She's
Yeah,
definitely much better than Rosa Mendez and shit. But the thing about Velvet Sky is she adds legitimacy because we know she can wrestle. She's
exactly.
over with wrestling fans. People know who she is. She's an established worker, and everybody knows the personal connection that she has to Bubba Ray Dudley. So it's really a no-brainer. But then some people did weigh in on Twitter and make good points. Josh Mackey said even if they did sign her, God knows they'd be clueless on how to use her.
This is
Uh,
this is true.
which is sad that you have to think about that.
Yeah.
But I would hope that Bubba Ray there would basically have the wherewithal to know what to do. I know he does, but
And also maybe being teamed with the Dudleys that kind of act as sort of like a shelter for her and them having probably, I would assume, well, knowing Vince maybe not, but having a little bit of pull backstage, um, that could act as kind of some protection for her. But again, you never know.
you never do know. So who do you got in that match, though?
I gotta say, man, I'm gonna make a bold prediction and say that the Dudleys take the title. I kind of feel like they're gonna go down the path where they're gonna use the Dudleys to put over another team now that they see that the New Day is over. A win, I think, over the Dudleys isn't necessary because they're so over. Like you said, they're already selling out shirts. I don't think it would be a bad thing, but trying to think in the mindset of the WWE, I see the Dudleys picking up the title here and then maybe dropping it to Lucha Dragons, maybe dropping it somewhere else. I don't know, but I gotta think. I'm trying. I feel like it would be predictable for a New Day win. I think everybody's assuming that that's just what's going to happen. So I'm like I said, it's a bold prediction, but I'm going to go with the Dudleys actually winning the title here.
We're on the same wavelength, brother. That's why we're rope breakers. I'm with you on that. I think that makes perfect sense for the Dudley Boys to take the titles. Now we're inching closer to WrestleMania season, and you've seen this before. You've seen guys like the New Age Outlaws come in, take the titles for a brief time right before
Yep.
WrestleMania, and work with a group to help get them over for WrestleMania. And don't forget, we're going to have the Usos coming back sooner than later. They should be back and ready for WrestleMania. So you've got the Usos. And let me throw something else at you. You talked about Blake and Murphy and Alexa Bliss. What if we saw the Dudleys take the titles? Because they're borderline right now. They're facing off on with the New Day, who's very over. I know they're still technically supposed to be heel, but let's think about this. Let's think about the Dudleys taking the titles. Maybe you bring in Velvet Sky to help them out. And maybe, just maybe, Enzo Amore, Colin
Um,
Cassidy, and Carmella are that young up-and-coming group that the Dudley Boys help get over. Not that they need help getting over, but as far as in-ring work, it'd be great to see the veterans helping out the younger guys there.
that would be awesome. I would definitely dig the hell out of that. I think actually, honestly, Enzo and Cass are one of the only teams in NXT, one of the only groups of people that where their gimmick is going to work on the main roster. I just can't see it failing. They're so charismatic and they work so well together that I just cannot see it failing. So these guys, I think, are going to be huge on the main roster. And then, like you said, that would be an incredible feud. Carmella is been impressing me with what she's been able to do. I've been, really appreciating her work, her willingness to work with Eva Marie, and things like that. And even her mic ability has been somewhat decent. I mean, for being new and not really knowing exactly what she's doing, I've been pretty impressed with her. So her working with someone like Velvet Sky could be huge for her. Them working with the Dudleys could be huge for them. I think that can be incredible.
New York, an old rivalry renewed. That would be pretty dope, in my opinion. So we're both going to go with the Dudley Boys here, and we'll move on to the next match. let's talk about the Divas match. Another thing you said off air, and it's something that ever since we started Rope Break, we've been adamant about. They continue to drop the ball on something that could be huge with the Divas in this particular pay-per-view. You want to talk about a Divas revolution. We're in an era where females are demanding to be paid the same amount as males for the same work. Why not let the females do the same work that the males are doing? Why not have a Divas Hell in a Cell match? Matt, I know you're a big advocate for it.
Yep.
I just don't know why they're not doing it. Tell me why it would work, though.
Well, first of all, I mean, that puts them right in the same level as all the other guys on the guys on the roster, and I mean, I don't understand why they don't do it either. It's mind blowing to me because especially someone like Charlotte, someone like Nikki, which I know she gets a lot of heat and a lot of flack from the fans, but she does take a lot of bumps. She's not the best in the ring at times, and she's definitely she's struggled here and there keeping up with the women of NXT. But that's not at her fault. That's the fault of the WWE, the people who have been training her to be a diva and not a women's wrestler. That's the difference. And, I just think this could be huge. I mean, it puts them in the same category as everyone else. It makes them, that would equalize the rosters. I mean, you want to give them a Divas Revolution. Instead of giving them 2 matches on Raw, how about you give them 1 match on Raw that's the same length as everyone else's? Because you're trying to bullshit people by giving them 2 matches and saying, oh, we're giving you 2 Divas matches. But you're literally just taking 1 match and cutting it in half and giving us 2. That's literally what you're doing. And that's not a revolution. That's bullshit.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you there. Like 2 matches on Raw, I don't really see how that's a revolution when you've got the guys still having 6, 7, 8 matches. It doesn't really make sense. I think they could have done something here.
Yep.
They have a perfect opportunity, not in the fact that it's called Hell in a Cell, the pay-per-view, but the fact that Charlotte is up and coming. She's new. It's believable to start this and put this behind her as the revolution. You know what I mean?
Yep. Exactly.
You also have, after Nikki Bella and Charlotte are done, then you have a legitimate argument for Charlotte and Paige to say, listen, you may have been the first to say Divas Revolution, but things didn't start happening until I came around here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If they went with a Hell in a Cell match, if they went with some sort of gimmick match here, you've got stuff like that can be said. Now it's just a bunch of empty words.
Exactly.
Divas Revolution. Yeah. Nothing's really different. We've got much better Divas wrestlers, women's wrestlers, but they're still not getting the appropriate time to tell a story.
Exactly. And it sucks because nobody on any of these rosters are going to be able to put on a story in the amount of time they give these women. I don't care who you are. You cannot put on a story in 4 minutes. It's just not possible. And it's crazy to me. I know it's kind of, for me, falls in the same category as what I was talking about with Kevin Owens and Ryback, where, I mean, they could have added some kind of gimmick. They could have made this a triple threat and led, but I feel like this is just another lazy booking where they're just taking the same match they did before. Anybody could write this. There's no effort that needs to go into planning this match. All right, we're just going to do exactly what we did before. Here you go. You guys figure it out from there. It just seems lazy, and, it's anybody can do it.
It's another one of those matches like Ryback and Kevin Owens where we know who's going to win.
Exactly. Yep.
We know that Charlotte's going to win. If for God forbid some reason she loses, wow, I don't know what would be.
Maybe she retains by disqualification due to Brie.
Well, yeah, even that, I could see some stupid shit like that. That's stupid. But if for some reason Charlotte were to lose, wow, that'd be so terribly stupid. I can't even begin to tell you. Not because we like Charlotte, because you can't just bring somebody new in, have her win the title, and then lose it right away. Delegitimizes her as a superstar. But that being said, it's just not really an interesting build. Are they going to bring Ric Flair out again to, announce like, woo, Here comes my daughter, Charlotte. Woo! Woo!
I'm not gonna lie. When she won the title, I was half expecting her to start bleeding.
Woo!
What? Oh my god! I was kind of half expecting her to start bleeding when she had the title. I figured, I don't know if it's like genetic or something. I kind of assumed it might have been, but she didn't start bleeding. Uh,
Well,
yeah,
we talk about things, and as you see the Ric Flair vinyl pop, which is it really is style and profiling. But you talk about not having her live in her father's shadow, wanting to have her be her own person. Well, what the fuck? All we're doing is just driving home the point that this is Ric Flair's daughter. This is Ric Flair's daughter.
yeah,
That's why you need to like her, because it's Ric Flair's daughter.
yeah,
She's not her own
exactly.
person. She just tweeted out something today. Nobody can put out my Flair.
Yeah,
Like, do you know what a flare is in that context? Like one of those little ass flames that you put outside of a car accident? Like, it's really not saying much to me.
yep, exactly.
But
I mean,
why can't she just be her own person, man?
I know. I was thinking about this the other day. Like they drive that point home on commentary constantly. Like they have to weasel in that shades of Ric Flair or this. Oh, look at Ric Flair's daughter. Oh, and I'm like, we get it. We understand. She's got Ric Flair's ass. I think anybody who knows wrestling can just assume. You don't even have to hear it. You just know. Um, it's just even with like the Usos, they do that. Oh, Rikishi's sons. It's like we know, we get it. Let them be them. She's more than talented enough to be able to handle herself. She doesn't need Flair there hugging her and crying all over her every time she makes an accomplishment. Oh my God, she walked down to the ring by herself. Start fucking crying.
Yeah, you're right. It's like it's the Ric Flair show. Every time something happens, and I know he doesn't really intend it to be that way, but that's the way it is. You know what I mean?
It's not his fault. It's just the way that the WWE is booking these things. Like, oh, we're gonna have Flair go out there, and they're not giving a shit. They care more about whatever can get us ratings. It doesn't matter if it's hurting the future. As long as this is getting us ratings and Flair's getting us ratings, doesn't matter if it's overshadowing Charlotte. This is getting us ratings. That's kind of how I feel their mindset is going into these things.
And I want to say we've got some people tuning in on YouTube that are commenting along with the show. MalaTube appears to be a new viewer. Says, "Can you shout me out, please? Shout me out. Shout out me, dude, please." What's going on, MalaTube? Thanks for watching. We appreciate everybody that tunes in. Every time you tune in, we also have Twisty, who's tuning in, appears to be a new viewer. These guys are trying to win some prizes, and the way that you win the two prizes, again, we got 2 DVDs here. We've got Triple H, Thy Kingdom Come on DVD. That's Triple H's biography set. And then we also have Night of Champions 2014, also up for grabs for free, shipped right to your doorstep. All you have to do is participate on Twitter as well on the chat. So go on to our Twitter, which is at Rope Break Wrestling. It's right in the description of this video here if you're watching. And tweet out and tag us in that tweet. That way we can retweet you, follow you. And if you've already done that, no worries. Then you've got a good chance of winning already. Now, Matt, you and I, we're used to pretty large crowds here, but we've been gone for a while, so naturally, there's been no build up to this show, similar to there's been no build up to Hell in a Cell. Yep. But at the end of the day, the show is still pretty damn good, minus the build up. So hopefully, Hell in a Cell, we can say the same. Let's give our final predictions here on Charlotte and Nikki Bella. I think I know where you're going, but let me know.
Absolutely, Charlotte. Makes no sense otherwise. Like I said, I feel like they could do something where Brie Bella turns face, turns on Nikki. Charlotte retains the title. They make some kind of triple threat nonsense. We could see that happening. I don't know exactly where they're going, but either way, Charlotte is definitely going to retain.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you. I also think maybe you want to talk about a turn and a disqualification. Maybe you see Paige come out and finally finish off that turn on Charlotte to build a feud with them going forward. Maybe you see Becky Lynch do something like that. I don't think it's going to be Becky Lynch quite yet. I think they want to.
You know what could happen?
What could happen?
I'm thinking that it's possible that maybe Ric Flair comes out and puts his daughter in the figure four.
It starts bleeding everywhere,
Starts
crying.
bleeding. Nobody's gonna overshadow Ric Flair.
That's
Not even his
right.
own daughter. Woo!
The only guy that can say he literally had blood, sweat, and tears in the ring every single match. Let's move forward here to what should be a really good match and what should be the grand finale of this really too long feud between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. You want to talk about two guys that can't afford to lose a match right now. Here you go, Matt.
Yep.
You said it earlier. They've backed themselves into this position way too often. They've done it again. Here we are in a Hell in a Cell match. I'm going to ask you a unique question here. How can both of these guys come out better than they went into this match? Is it possible? How can both of these guys come out looking better than they came in?
That's a good question.
Because that's what should be the writers' questions.
Yes, they should be. Exactly. They should be asking themselves that question every single time that they write or they book anything. But they obviously don't. Their mindset is how much money is this going to make us, and how much ratings this is going to get us. I don't know. It's a tough question, dude. I think what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to pull out a similar Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, like they did at Mania, where it was just such a brutal and impressive match that even though Roman Reigns didn't necessarily win, you still kind of you left with a lot of respect for the guy because he definitely left it in the ring. I think both of these guys are going to have to leave everything in the ring. They're going to have to make this match stand out. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like to say that just because someone loses a match doesn't necessarily mean they're buried or that their character is lost. I think it matters more on how they build up the character after they take a loss, because that is the most important. If we see whoever loses on Raw and they put them in a match that can continue them building, they win a match, even if they throw a jobber to Bray Wyatt who might lose or Roman Reigns who might lose, and they continue to build his character and they don't just forget about him. I think I could be okay with that, but I don't see that happening because that never happens. We've seen Bray Wyatt lose multiple times and then come back on Raw and not really win anything, and then he's off TV for a while, and then he comes back and loses again, and there's no semblance of credibility for him. I think that's where they fall short, is they don't continue the build after the loss. They just let it sit, and that's how you really hurt characters. So they really need to build him after the loss. And I say him, I don't know if it's... I got to say Roman Reigns is going to win. I know I keep going with Bray Wyatt. They got to because I just feel like that's the route they're going to go. I don't see them putting... Reigns is their guy, and I don't see them, putting Wyatt over him. I don't know. I think, like I said, they just both have to leave it in the ring. They have to make this match stand out above all else, and they need to, especially with, on a card that has Taker and Lesnar, you really have to put everything on the line. We need to see some pretty interesting and unique spots. It's going to be really difficult, but I'm hoping that these two can pull it out.
Good points there. And I think you're right in saying that Reigns is their guy, and you don't see them necessarily straying away from Reigns. But I've done a lot of thinking about this, and that's the reason I asked you the question, was to get your take on it. Here's the way I think I would book it. And, we're always armchair bookers here. That's pretty much our job, because we're fans. I'm going to tell you what I want to see. And what I think would work the best here is a very, very grueling match between these two guys with no outside interference. Please, no outside interference. Matt, I know you've been huge talking about this all the time. Bray Wyatt is not as good as he could be because of the way they've booked him in the fact that the Wyatt family has always been his out. He's always looked like a coward. He's never really been a legitimate face of fear, etc., etc. You want to make both of these guys legit, kind of like what you said between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. We were sitting here, right here in my living room, talking about how badass Roman Reigns was for taking that ass whooping at WrestleMania from Brock Lesnar. We could tell it was raw. We could tell it was real. You know what I mean? Yes, obviously it's scripted, but there were some blows being thrown there between Lesnar and Roman Reigns. What I want to see is these two guys lay everything on the mat. Because for me, as a viewer and a consumer of these two guys, this is their last chance for me. Because both of these guys have been great up-and-coming talents, but they've yet to hit that next level. They've been in that, oh shit, this guy's from NXT. Oh shit, this guy's from The Shield. They've been stuck in that spotlight. They've yet to break that glass ceiling, not to use terms like that. I guess what I'm trying to get at is I want to see these guys both laying on the mat at the end, exhausted, broken, beaten, scarred, and I want to see Bray Wyatt win the match, and I'll tell you why. Bray Wyatt is the guy here that needs to be built as the force not to be reckoned with. Bray Wyatt needs to be believable as this cult leader, etc. Why is the family following him if Braun Strowman is stronger than him and wins more decisive than him, etc., etc.? Exactly. That stuff doesn't make sense to me. I want to see Bray Wyatt win a long, grueling match, and the reason why that helps Roman Reigns is because if he takes a legitimate ass whooping and has a good match, you and I and other fans are saying, wow, that was a great match. Reigns was a part of a great match. And the fact that he didn't get the win also helps him out because now his other fans, that builds sympathy for him. Wow, the Superman punch didn't work that time? Wow, Reigns didn't come back from nowhere and win this match? Wow, I feel bad for Reigns. Show us that he's human, make him relatable, and from there, he will go through the roof. We've got some guys on YouTube talking again. An interesting one here from somebody which I cannot say their name. It's in some kind of Arabic font. Said this, and I'm going to say they're referring to you, Matt. Wow, you're so cool. You do not look like a fat fuck sucking dicks. I'm not sure if that's a compliment or sarcasm or what. Listen, I know
I want to know how you know they're talking, or how do you know they're talking, admitting that you look like a fat fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on there. I know I've put on a couple pounds since the last live show, but I'm not sure what's going on here. Maybe they're being sincere and saying, hey, it's not two fat slobs sitting in front of their computers, talking. But then at the end of the day, there's at least one semi-fat slob here that's doing that. But with that being said, thanks for commenting. I'm not sure what I should say to that. Twisty. Twisty continues to come to our defense here saying, shut up, man. They're better than you. They will Superman punch you.
Actually, I've been known as Superman.
Yes. And to decode that was kind of a little bit frozen up. But I think what you said there was you have been known to Superman punch people.
That's exactly what I said.
And I want to remind you guys, just a couple days ago was Matt Donato's 22nd or 23rd, Matt?
That'd be
say it one more time. He froze up.
Whoever this guy is talking to, he's probably hacking in. he's hacking into my internet right now. That's what's going down. 22
years of age, a young buck, if you will.
A young buck, yep.
Old Oss turns 23 in a month.
You old son of a bitch.
Yeah, old son B. But Twisty also comes on and says, Wyatt family might win due to a cheap shot. Wyatt might win due to a cheap shot or distraction by the family. I think, that's something that's very possible.
Yeah, I can
Then
see
he
that
just
happening.
goes absolutely crazy saying they might break down the cell. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. Um, but
I mean, it's
cool.
possible, but I
Yeah.
mean, with Braun, yeah, with Braun there, I mean, it's possible.
And then Delta, our boy, Ryan Barilla, is on, not Barilla like the pasta. Ryan Barilla says, "Happy late birthday" for Matt.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And take note, Twisty and Molatube. You want to take a look at a model rope breaker. Ryan Barilla, aka S Delta, is the guy right there. Talk
Yep.
about, I believe he holds the record for most prizes won.
Yeah, I think he
Uh,
does. Yeah.
this guy's taken home probably like $100 worth of free shit from Rope Break, and that's my boy. He could still win today. You never know.
Yep.
But let's move on here. We're running out of time. We're running on an hour here. Matt's got a birthday party to go to. Feliz Navidad. Feliz cumpleaños. Sorry. Let's move on to the next match here, which
Feliz
Feliz Navidad, Feliz cumpleaños. Let's move on to the next match.
So it sounded good to me.
Let's talk about what should be the main event here. And it's sad that we're talking about it as the third to last match that we're going to talk about. Demon Kane versus Seth Rollins. Here's another match that they have added a stipulation to, which makes it work, which makes it a little, makes you kind of wonder who is going to win. But this could have been in the cell too. The other thing that bothers me is that they've got 2 Hell in a Cell matches that have been booked as a little bit more important than this match, and this is that title match. So you talk about always wanting the title going last. You talk about the champion being booked as the strongest guy. We know neither of those things have happened in this case. Tell me your feelings on this Demon Kane versus Seth Rollins match.
Got a lot of those feelings. I'm kind of on the fence because I feel like I know so many people want to see Kane as champion. I was reading a lot of people are like, oh, Kane needs to be champion. He deserves it. I get it. He deserves it, but it's not best for business. Look at what he hasn't had a good match in forever. I mean, you can't, he would not be a viable champion. The build has been awful and it just doesn't make sense. I know that's what you want, but what you want wouldn't work. So that doesn't make any sense. Another thing is the stipulation. Yeah, it adds that kind of who's going to win. But at the same time, nobody gives a shit about Corporate Kane. They've done nothing with them. Everybody's like, who gives a fuck? So it's like, is it really that important of a stipulation? And then again, it's Kane. Like I said, no disrespect to him, but he's not the same as he used to be. That's just how it goes. It's not anybody's fault. It's just that's what happens over time. The older you get, you're not going to be as good as you once were. And Kane is not in that position. There's been zero build for Kane. I mean, do they expect me to be excited because he came back and chokeslammed a few people and they keep calling him Demon Kane, so now I'm supposed to be excited and thinking that this match is going to be incredible? Like, they've had very little build for him coming back. And prior to that, I mean, he was hugging Daniel Bryan and it's just been a clusterfuck. He was chokeslamming Zack Ryder. It's just been so confusing and it's I don't know. It's just been a mess with Kane. I don't see them using this to turn him around because there's no point in that. You need to build your champion. Maybe they're going to have Seth Rollins finally win one. I think I heard a statistic that was like that Seth has won like 1 out of like a huge ton of matches in a matter of like 3. Like, he's pretty much lost 99% of all the matches he's been in like 3 months or something like that, which is not, I mean, I don't think he's really won basically anything since he's gone solo away from the Shield. I mean, it's been very minimal, the things that he's won. So he needs to win this one. I'm not too interested. Like I said, I could give a shit about Corporate Kane. You can find him right now. I mean, I like it's sad because I kind of like the concept of having a Corporate Kane and Demon Kane and kind of having that split personality kind of one's like, I really have no idea what's going on. And then you have the Demon Kane who's like a different mindset. Like, he's making it a little bit more realistic. I think that works, but I think they're a little too late for that. If this is something they had done when they first brought back the mask and then built it up, it probably would be better. But I mean, you've only had like 4 weeks of building this storyline, and it's not enough for me to be truly invested. So I think Seth Rollins has to win this match. Otherwise, I completely give up on everything they're doing with him. I just give up.
I think you're right, dude. I think there's a couple other things that if you look closely, you'll see that Seth Rollins is definitely going to win this match. I think the fact that they added in that stipulation alone basically says, hey, we're moving on from Corporate Kane finally. And this is their out, their way to kind of make Corporate Kane disappear. The thing is Corporate Kane will be relieved of his duties. That will make Demon Kane more angry, and this feud will continue. That's what I'm afraid of.
I wouldn't mind Corporate Kane still showing up for work even though he's fired. Like, well, I kind of like the separate. I don't know personally. I know there's people who don't like it, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but it was different. I kind of dug when I saw they were doing kind of that split personality, and they had two different Kanes. I kind of liked it. I thought it definitely added some realism. So I wouldn't mind him still showing up for work and acting and acting like he hasn't been fired and still trying to do his job, even though he doesn't have a job there. I think that could be interesting.
I think you're right, and I agree with you. I really liked the element that they added with the split personality, and I think that really worked. The first couple of weeks that they did that, everybody was super into it, super interested, and people were like, "Wow, this is great." They're finally like giving Kane like a character, and it was cool, but then it fizzled out fast. Because they started worrying about building Undertaker and Lesnar, and that's pretty much it. And that's sad to me. The other thing that's sad to me is that god-awful mask that Kane wears. Why can it not just be the older style mask? Like I feel like I'm not asking for too much. That mask just doesn't look menacing to me.
I agree.
Like,
I feel the same way.
Crazy. Wow.
I know he said in the past that the original mask, he doesn't have to wear that one, but the original long mask he had a lot of trouble breathing in. So I mean they could make something, where it resembles the old mask. Even he had that mask that wasn't a full face mask. They could bring that back or something similar to that if they needed to. But I agree with you. There's just nothing that makes it believable that this guy is the Demon Kane. It just looks hokey. Looks like he stopped that costume before the show and, bought what they had on sale.
Costume where he could have stopped at Target. They sell the damn mask there. It's pretty much the same damn thing. Stopped at Target, saved 5% with his red card, and now he's got this freaking terrible ass mask that he's got. So either way, I think Rollins is going to take the match. I think there's multiple reasons for that. I like that because I think Kane is going to eventually go back into just Demon Kane, and I hope they really give him a chance to do a lot of talking on the mic, really build that Demon character, and really have one last good run into WrestleMania as a dark, demonic character, because that's Kane. That's the Kane we all know and love, and they lost sight of that over the years.
I think we all kind of are hoping for that, even though the match itself may not be great. Just for nostalgic reasons, we're hoping for that final Taker Kane WrestleMania. They both end it with nobody. It's a draw. They both just kind of go off into the sunset kind of deal. I think a lot of us are really hoping for that. And, if they can build Kane up to that point where, like you said, he's that demonic, dark character, I could see it working, especially with The Undertaker, kind of growing his hair back out. I could see them doing something with that.
Yeah. I'm with you there, dude. I think we've talked about that for several years, you and I, on and off the air, about the idea of having Kane and Taker face each other in their last match and kind of ride off in the sunset, maybe end the match with like the urn and the Kane's mask just sitting there in the ring after it goes up in smoke or something. Who knows? Who knows what they do? But there's plenty of stuff to be done. Now, Twisty says, Kane 1993 or Kane 2015? It should be noted that Kane wasn't around until 1997, 1998, I believe. So Kane 1993 would actually be like fake Diesel. Not even yet.
No, was he Isaac? Well, I'm trying to think. Isaac Yankem, was he in '93?
I'm not
I'm
sure.
trying to remember when that run was. The Isaac Yankem. So I'll take Kane 1993. I'll take Isaac Yankem.
Yeah, I'll take Kane 1998 all day long. So rate
Yep.
that one in there, Twisty. Um, we also have a guy, Josh Fighter 101, who's tuning in that says, "Hi guys, in a few minutes I'm going to Hell in a Cell. I have tickets. To you,
Nice.
I say enjoy. That is
Yeah, dude.
awesome.
That's awesome. Have fun.
Tweet us some pictures, man. At Rope Break Wrestling. We'll retweet them for you. Let us see where you're sitting and stuff. That'll be cool. And make a sign that says Rope Break Wrestling, Rope Break Wrestling. And if you do that and you get spotted on TV, like I'll give you my house or something that I don't have.
I'll give you. I'll give you my firstborn child.
Yes. Let's talk about. We got two more matches to cover here before we get everybody out of here. And first, let's talk about the one that's been buzzing all over the internet right now: John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge. We don't know who's going to accept the challenge. There's been a number of different people that could, should, would, maybe accept the challenge. Let's talk about a theory that you think is a false theory right off the rip that you and I kind of, not necessarily false, but not necessarily going to happen, that's been circulating today. Why don't you get our viewers in on that?
Well, it's not that I think it's a false theory per se, and I just don't think that anybody knows for sure. And you have all these other sites. See, this is why Rope Break's the best, because we don't lie to you. All the other sites are trying to be like, oh, he's going to be there or he's not going to be there. You don't know that. Stop trying to bullshit people. James Storm, if you're not familiar with him, he was a former heavyweight champion on that other program there, TNA, and he. Yeah, your mic is muted.
Over on tits and ass is what I said.
Yeah. He boarded a plane, tweeted a picture of himself on the plane in first class, and used the hashtag 999 and hashtag sorry about your damn luck. So, people are automatically assuming this means that James Storm is going to answer John Cena's Open Challenge and win the U.S. Championship. I mean, yes, it's very plausible. I think it's possible. I think it would definitely be interesting. There it is right there on the screen. James Storm looking like he's gotten zero sleep. But, I mean,
He also looks like he has
possible.
zero just for men.
Yeah. That definitely looks like that too. And I'm in the stance of we don't know what's going to happen. Only person who knows what's going to happen is James Storm and possibly the WWE, but we don't know that. We can only assume from that picture that it, with the hashtag 999, that sounds like he's going to be at Hell in a Cell. Does that mean he's going to be on TV? No. And all these sites claiming that he's going to be, they don't know that. They're just bullshitting people to try to get them to click on their links to go to their sites. And we don't do that here at Rope Break. We try to be as honest as possible. And we're telling you, we don't know. You can look at that picture and you can say for yourself, well, it says 999. Maybe he's going and he'll be there backstage. Maybe he's visiting friends. We don't know. Would it be interesting to see him debut? I think that would definitely be interesting. He's already well established. He's an extremely incredible talent. He's great on the mic, great in the ring. I think this guy has a lot to offer. He's already at that point where he already is a main event type talent where I could really see him automatically being catapulted into that position. Does that mean he's going to be U.S. champion? I think with him being the cowboy, James Storm, I kind of feel like if I'm in the heads of the WWE, they're like, oh, cowboy, Texas? Oh, that screams the United States of America. Book it. So I feel like he's the cowboy James Storm. They're like, oh, my God, that means he has to have the title. Not necessarily.
Wait a minute. If he's a cowboy and WrestleMania 32 is in Cowboy Stadium, maybe if we put the title on Cowboy, it'll lead to more ticket sales.
Oh, my. The Illuminati confirmed. The point is we don't know. I think it would be cool. I think that would be an interesting because, he did have a few matches on NXT. I don't know if it was like house shows that he was working or if he actually was on. I haven't seen anything too recently, so I'm not sure if it was any of of the live events or anything like that. But nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows if he signed with NXT on their brand or if he signed on Raw, on with the WWE on those brands. So nobody knows for sure. He could show up. He could win the title. I mean, going by that tweet, I can see where people would get that he might be showing up. And sorry about your damn luck. Him beating Cena. Cena's going away. So I feel like whoever Cena does face tonight is going to win the title, just because Cena is going to be going away until I think they said around December-ish. But there's plenty of other rumors going around. And as we posted on our Facebook page on our site earlier, you can check it out at ropebreakwrestling.com or facebook.com/ropebreakwrestling. Another rumor going around, spoiler. If you don't want to hear the spoiler, then you can,
spoiler. Woo!
I'm telling you,
Flair
dude.
is going to win the U.S. Championship.
Tweet us with hashtag AuSSy for the voice. Another rumor going around is that Daniel Bryan might be the guy coming to answer that open challenge from John Cena. To be honest with you, I would be okay with either one. I think I'd be a little more excited for Daniel Bryan because there's been the stigma, the what ifs surrounding Daniel Bryan, or the unknowns. We don't know. Is he coming back? Is he ever going to wrestle again? And, him coming out would definitely obviously answer those questions. And John Cena did say, once you find out why have to go away for a while, you'll completely understand. And my thought process, everybody's like, oh my God, is he injured? Is this problem? I'm sure he's got injuries that would definitely benefit from him taking time off. But I don't think, he said it's personal reasons. I think it has a lot to do. I think he's taking time off because when he drops the title, you kind of need that. I think he's going to give whoever wins that title time to develop with that title while he's away, give them that spotlight. I kind of feel like that's what he's doing by being gone till December. And if Daniel,
noted, not to cut you off, is that he is supposedly going to be filming a exercise or fitness show for Fox.
Really?
Yeah. So I think that's another one of the reasons. Yeah, I can't wait for that, man. Everything that Cena does, he's going to do in reps of two and then kick out.
Yeah. 1, 2, kick out. Kick out.
But I think that's the reason, but it'll be cool. I think what you said makes sense. Him going away will give time to whoever takes the strap to develop. But continue with what you were saying.
I'm cool with whoever wins it, to be honest. I mean, if Daniel Bryan comes out, I think that'd be more of a mark out moment for me. I'd be more excited to see him because we haven't seen him in a while. He's already developed on the roster. And, a guy like James Storm isn't as well known with the crowd. I mean, the smart fans know who he is. But as far as the regular fans who go, they're not going to know him as well, I don't think. But then again, I've been surprised before. But I think Daniel Bryan already being established, already winning a title, already being at WrestleMania. And I know people like to stack that stigma of, oh, he's winning the U.S. Championship. That's really bad. It's not bad as long as they do something with it. If they don't do anything with him or that title, then it becomes really, really bad.
It's not bad thanks to John Cena and the work that he's done with the title since WrestleMania.
And I honestly think Daniel Bryan, because he's already been WWE champion, he can really help elevate that title even further. Him coming back, I think he serves more to benefit that title than someone like James Storm's right now. But James Storm in the future, I like I said, I already see him being that main event type player already because of what he's done in TNA, his talent, ability, his look. He's very unique, and we need more guys like him, I think, on the roster.
Yeah, I think that James Storm thing was a diversion. I could see WWE being like, hey, tweet this out. That way it kind of diverts the attention from Daniel Bryan leaking out. I think it's much more likely that we see Daniel Bryan just because I don't see a TNA guy coming out of nowhere, having one episode on NXT and then jumping right into the main roster when you've got guys like Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Baron Corbin, Tyler Breeze. All these guys have been established on TV for a while. Most of the fans would know who they are. I think they would put them above. But, you know, like you said, I've been surprised before. But I'm really expecting Daniel Bryan, and if not Daniel Bryan, probably Tyler Breeze, just because that would make sense. He just debuted, and yada, yada, yada.
And then he can feud with Ziggler. That would make sense. How about this? I want to ask you a question. I haven't really read any rumors on this. Honestly, when I saw the link, I hadn't seen the rumor yet, so I wasn't sure who it was. When we put up the link of former champion might answer the open challenge, and for my thought, because he didn't specify which championship, I immediately, for some reason, thought of Sami Zayn being the one
Well,
to answer the call,
that's
win the title.
funny that you bring that up because Jeremiah Golder also just commented that on YouTube. You guys are on the same wavelength. Jeremiah says, "I would love it if Sami Zayn answered the challenge. Daniel Bryan is not needed for the U.S. title, in my opinion. In my opinion, it would demote the title, not by a huge margin, but it'd be there. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that second part, but I do think Sami Zayn would be a viable contender, seeing as he hurt himself in that match with Cena. I just don't think Sami Zayn is ready yet.
I think
He's hurt, is what I'm saying. He's still hurt.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking. He's not ready as far as
No, he's ready.
I think that if he is ready, I think that would be a really cool, because then you have, somewhere you're going to get a feud between him and Kevin Owens again. It's going to be insane and epic. But yeah, I think that could be really cool because he has unfinished business with Cena. He nearly beat him before. It'd be like that underdog story, and I think that would be a great idea. Jeremiah, good thinking. Great minds think alike.
So, Matt, are you thinking? It seems like what you're thinking is, by the way you've said, that no matter who faces Cena, you think Cena's dropping the belt tonight.
I definitely think he's going to drop the belt tonight. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm with you on that one. The only thing that keeps me a little bit eerie is like another comment Jeremiah said. WWE did have like a Facebook thing out advertising in late December. John Cena, U.S. champion John Cena facing Sheamus. But that the thing that I should caution Jeremiah about is that those things are always subject to change. I know when they come here, pretty much the card always changes. And if they're smart, they kind of throw that out there to make you think that, John Cena still has a chance. I don't see John Cena going away for 2 months and them having that belt off of TV for 2 months. If they do, that doesn't make any sense to me because then why do you have to take the titles away from Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, and exactly. And it really just diminishes any build that he's all the work that he's done to build that title this far. But also, I was just thinking of this as you were talking. What if they throw a loop? I mean, there's a small possibility if they throw us for a loop and they have someone like Adam Rose come out and answer the because they're trying to rebuild him and repackage him. And now, that's what I'm saying. They could do something like that because they've been doing packages. They've been posting stuff on Facebook. They've been trying to get him back out there. And in their mindset, this would be a perfect opportunity. So
they dropped the ball with Adam Rose. As far as the second opportunity, they should have Krugered his ass out and put him in the Wyatt family. But
I agree.
I will say the only way I will be happy with this outcome is if Cena drops the belt and it's to either Cesaro, Tyler Breeze, Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, or James Storm. I don't think it's going to be James Storm. I don't think they're going to bring him up that quick without anybody really knowing who he is and beat John Cena, the company's #1 guy, for a belt. I think that would say too much about TNA talent for them. I do, however, see them able to do that with Sami Zayn and able to do that with Daniel Bryan because of the ties they have with John Cena in the past. But Jeremiah brings up another great point, and I said this in the article. I do have a hard time believing that they're just going to bring Daniel Bryan back and put a title right on his waist because of the injury concerns they've had in the past. So that might be a reason why you see James Storm. I don't know. I think the best possible option, if it's not Daniel Bryan, would be Tyler Breeze. Really start to build him right out of the gate, really legitimize him. He can really, really, really benefit from a win like that against John Cena, but we'll see.
I agree. I agree. I think that the only reason I say that I feel like Daniel Bryan would be more viable is because he's already been a champion. So I think him beating Cena, like you said, you know, in his first match back wouldn't be too unbelievable, because it's Daniel Bryan. You know, he beat Triple H and then he beat Randy Orton and Batista in the same match. So him coming back and doing that, it wouldn't be too unbelievable. James Storm, like you said, being so unknown as far as the WWE universe goes, you know, him coming in and beating the company's number one guy, you know, it would be like having somebody. It would be like if they were to have Booker T come in from WCW and had him actually beat The Rock. You know, they didn't do that.
Right.
They're not going to have someone from WCW beat The Rock. So they're not going to have someone coming in out of TNA and beat their number one guy. So I don't see that happening either.
All right. It looks like Matt and I are in agreement again here, saying that John Cena is going to lose the strap. Let's go ahead to our final match here. We've run way past what we should be,
Yep.
but that's just a little gift to you guys for waiting so long for us to come back on the air. We got the final Hell in a Cell match. I expect this to be the last match on between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. Lot of speculation. Is this the final match between the two? How does it end? Is there outside interference? Does The Undertaker go for a low blow again? Yada, yada, yada. Here's my take on it. I think there will be some sort of outside interference. I don't know from who, but I have heard and seen rumors of The Rock coming in and screwing Lesnar or something like that. I don't know that I see that happening. But I don't know. I don't know where to go here. This is like a very, very unpredictable match. That's why it's exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see The Rock coming back either. You know, he's too busy clanging and banging and buying his mom 30 cars and shit. So, you know, I don't see him coming back. I know that people talked about that. I'm more thinking that if he does come back, it's going to be against Triple H, because I don't see them doing all that building, him doing that program with Triple H backstage at, I think it was SmackDown or Raw. I don't remember which one. I think it might have been Raw. And then the program at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was SmackDown, or it was Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah, they replayed it on SmackDown. Okay. So him coming back on set, but I definitely agree with you. I do think there's going to be outside interference. It almost doesn't make sense to not have outside interference. I mean, this match in and of itself, and this is my issue with this match, is not that it's not going to be great. I'm actually really interested in seeing this match as a fan, but when you have to sell your pay-per-view based on two guys who are not there full time and who are not going to be there, I don't have a problem with part-timers being there. I know a lot of people do, but you can't base your show around part-timers. That's the issue. You can't sell your product based on what these two guys, because you're not building towards the future. You're neglecting your future to build. Not going to be there for that much longer.
Yeah, I think they're thinking behind that, and it always has been. I think I finally come to understand why they do that is because it's a rare occurrence. You better watch now because it's not going to happen next month, et cetera, et cetera. But you're completely right. You're completely right. They're not building for the future, bro.
Exactly. And that's fine that they want to do that, you know, once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime, 3 times a lifetime, shades of Rock Cena. But, you know, you have to still build your future, because these, like I said, these guys are not going to be there forever. And then you're going to have nobody to fill those slots. You're going to be like, oh, why don't we book Lesnar and Undertaker? And be like, Undertaker's not wrestling anymore. He's knitting quilts, and Lesnar's on Dancing with the Stars or some shit like that. He's not available. No, what are we going to do? You know, and they're not going to have guys. You know, guys are, you know, either going to be gone or they're not going to be wrestling anymore. They're going to be too old to do anything. And it's going to be an issue, and they're not going to have anybody to rely on. So that's my issue with this match, is not that it's happening, but the fact that they rely too heavily on it to sell their product and sell this pay-per-view. The match itself is going to be, I think, phenomenal. I can't see it, you know, I can't see it happening with anything other than some kind of interference, because I think that would be the best. Because if it doesn't, then this match is pretty much at the end of the day meaningless. I mean, there's no substance to it. And I mean, you can argue that for most of the matches, because at the end of the day, it's not really doing much of anything. Nobody really technically has any kind of build. Nobody's over. Nobody's, you know, it's just kind of a bunch of guys who really are meaningless fighting each other, and then they're going to move on to more meaningless feuds. And the only guy who's actually truly over is John Cena. He's the only guy who's actually, when you have a match with Cena, it means something, so that just goes to show shitty booking. And this is unless they can have the way that they do that is by using someone. I think Lesnar's the guy they have to do it with. I think I think Lesnar has to go over here. I know people want to see The Undertaker. I know some people may disagree, but as far as the overall company goes, not what I want as a fan, but as far as the company goes, Lesnar has been built more than Undertaker. And right now, in the grand scheme of things, I think he is more, I don't want to say he's more believable, but because he's been more in the spotlight, because nobody can beat him, right now he's the guy to beat. So if he can beat The Undertaker again, that's only going to solidify that. And then they can use that build for Lesnar to put someone else over. And that's how you start building to the future. Then that guy's over. They can start building on him, and then they can use him to build the next guy, and then that guy's over. Now you have two guys who are over, and then it's just a domino effect after that. But you have to start somewhere, and Lesnar, I think, is the guy that they can start with to do that. So I think that they need to have some kind of outside interference in order so that they can build the future and give this match some kind of meaning.
I think you hit the nail on the head, bro. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I couldn't have really said much of that better. I mean, I probably could have. No, I'm kidding. But I'm with you 100% on that whole theory. We've discussed it time and time again. I'm just hoping for a good match at the end of the day. I'm excited to see where they decide to go. I hope it's not a ball fuck finish like it was at SummerSlam. It should be a good closing to the feud. And it'll be interesting to see what they do for each guy going forward. I don't know. I have no idea. That's the thing. It's like that's what's going to be interesting going forward, because next month we're going to have Survivor Series. Will they be there? That's one of the big four. Yep. Who knows? Maybe we will have something going right away. I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see. But give me your final pick, Lesnar or Taker.
I gotta go Lesnar. I think that you know what? No, I'm going to change that. I want to see Lesnar, but I'm going to change it because I want to see Lesnar, but I'm trying to, I can't think with the heart. I got to think with the mind. And my mind is just telling me that for some reason, the way they've been building this, Undertaker is going to win it. I don't know why. I just had the feeling like for some reason, Undertaker is going to win it. The way the segment they had on Raw, they had Lesnar, playing mind games with Taker, at Hell in a Cell, he's going to beat you again. He conquered the streak. They keep bringing that aspect up. It's eating away at the Undertaker. Undertaker has a score to settle. They keep pushing that. Undertaker has to get his revenge. I just feel like they're leading in towards Undertaker beating Brock Lesnar. Maybe it's by disqualification. I don't know. I think Brock Lesnar should win for the sake of the business and the company, but I just see them going with Undertaker.
I think they're going to go with Undertaker as well. I just think that inside of the Devil's Playground, inside of Hell in a Cell, the cards are stacked against Lesnar, which he's overcome before many times. But I don't know. I don't know that I see a clear advantage to either guy winning, because either guy can put over the next guy, in my opinion. It's just a question of what direction they're going to go with. I think if Undertaker's going to remain a heel going forward, a win would help him out here. Maybe a crooked win. I don't know. Maybe him just beating the piss out of Lesnar. I don't know. And if they really want to build Lesnar as a babyface, they need to make him a little bit more relatable as well. He can't just go in and defeat everybody's childhood hero like 5 times and do it with ease. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen here. I'm excited, but I'm going to take.
I guess the reason. I guess. I'm too. Yeah, I guess the reason that I think it would be better for Lesnar to put guys over, Undertaker can't do that, but I just think that the way that has been built, and this is the thing that kills me, is that this is the blueprint for how this is right here, the blueprint for how all of your heels or all of your baby, like this is how you should be doing it. Not that they should be winning every single match. When you think of as a face or a heel, you think is a badass. It's believable. And it's funny to me that really the only guy that WWE doesn't build as much is Brock Lesnar. Every other guy that's being built is done by the WWE. Brock Lesnar really kind of goes in. He, for most part, he kind of calls his own shots. I think they give him direction, but he kind of. It's funny that that's the only guy that's really truly being built properly is the guy who's calling his own shots. And why they're not looking at this and saying we're having great success with this guy. Maybe we should just take that formula and put it to all these other guys that we have that are extremely talented and could definitely use this. But I think that if you think about it, I mean, Undertaker, and no disrespect to him, but his matches haven't been great. They've been good, but his age is showing. So him staying and putting someone, yes, he'll definitely be able to put someone over, but I just don't think it would be as convincing as putting down the beast and pinning him in the middle of the ring 1, 2, 3 cleanly. I just think beating Brock Lesnar based on the way he's been built as unbeatable. If he were to beat the Undertaker and then someone were to somehow be able to put him down, more believable than Undertaker. Not that Undertaker wouldn't be believable. I just think it sways a little more, in my opinion, in Lesnar's favor. And also, like I said, because Undertaker is showing his age, I don't know that the matches would be as good as something Brock Lesnar can put on, just because Undertaker's getting, much older. That's just the way that I look at it.
I hear you. Matt Donato, always a pleasure, brother. Spitting that knowledge, and that's good stuff right there. For everybody wondering how they can win the prizes, sit tight. Thanks for watching. You've completed the first pivotal part here of your key to winning a DVD from us. Tonight, we will announce the winners during the pay-per-view via Twitter. So make sure you're following us on Twitter at Rope Break Wrestling, and make sure you join in the conversation during the pay-per-view with us on Twitter, and that is when we will release the winners. But Matt, it's been a blast, brother. Go enjoy your birthday festivities, and we'll see you back here for the pay-per-view tonight.
Oh yeah, brother, it was fun. I have to do this again more often.
That's right. That's Matt Donato. I am AuSSy. This is Rope Break Wrestling. Get out of the bleachers and get in the ring with ropebreakwrestling.com. Like us on Facebook at Rope Break Wrestling, and follow us on Twitter at Rope Break Wrestling. Until next time, once again, he's Matt Donato. I am AuSSy. We'll catch you guys later. Enjoy Hell in a Cell from the Staples Center.